Hi everybody, it's just me. I wanted to make you a quick video, welcome you back from spring break. Yes, it is midweek and I'm just now getting to this. I've already had a crazy week with hiring in our college, but I'm pleased to see that we're expanding and growing, so that's a really good thing. So this week you start out with chapter 9. Some of you did go ahead and move ahead over spring break, and that's fine. I know some of you, because of life occasions or busy schedules, you have to just keep moving ahead, so I completely get that. So within chapter 9, complex cognitive processes, it really talks about this idea of metacognition. And what is metacognition? So they define that it's really thinking about your own thinking, and they talk about why that's important to learners. And I kind of reflect on my own learning and think, how many times did somebody say in a math class, what do you not understand? How do you understand this? How do you not understand it? How can I help you understand it? How do you approach a problem? What problems are easy for you? Really this reflective or insightful side of who you are, and thinking about how you think and process. And then how I think is more interesting is how we think and process in different settings and in different content areas. So I know if I was to approach one content area, which might be music, I know I'm a very auditory learner, and I listen to music. I don't read music very well. In some instances, reading would be really important depending on the content area for me. There may be other areas as a learner, I'm kinesthetic. But if you don't really ask students to think about how they best think in that content area, they don't really understand how they engage as a learner. And then that gets into problem solving and how one goes through the problem solving process. And at the end of the chapter, they actually talk about this idea of creativity and the need and use of creativity in the classroom, which I'm a huge fan of. I actually took a class on creativity from a gifted and talented educator at the University of Kansas. It was probably one of my favorite classes. It was a night class, and we actually got to discuss about the importance of creativity, but while we were doing that, we were actually being creative, and it was incredibly fun, breaking barriers for what people accept as normal behavior, to get and recharge yourself and become a creative individual, which it's really, I think, difficult for adults to kind of think, what is it like to be a 5-year-old, or what is it like to be a 6-year-old? And some of us will be teaching those individuals, so I think it's important to kind of get in tune with your own creative side as well. Looking ahead, I know one of the questions I've had is the classroom management assignment is usually due during week 11, but I have moved that back to week 13. It allows you to get a little bit more content under your belt. So it's really not due until week 13, so you can turn it on in any time between 11 and 13. Some of you may have done it, and some of you are maybe still working on it or thinking about starting to work on it. The actual turn-in site, though, is listed back in chapter 11. I might go in and move that, though, so everybody knows where it's at. I just wanted you to know that it was assigned in chapter 11 or week 11, so that's where the turn-in is actually at. But it's not due until the 13th week, which is Monday, April 18th. So I want to just clarify that. Some things that are coming up, are the PLT study guide. Remember, the PLT is 2 praxis that you will take to get your licensure in the state of Kansas. One of them is a very general assessment, and that one everyone takes depending on, it doesn't matter whether you're ECU, elementary ed, or secondary ed, everybody takes a very generalist praxis or PLT, and then everyone will take a content-based one. So ECU has its own, elementary ed has its own, and then if you're secondary, you actually have a content test. So everybody takes 2 assessments. For the PLT, what I really want you to concentrate on is content from Woolfolk, using that PLT study guide that you think you know really well, that you don't need to probably list or go over, and looking through the study guide and going, oh my gosh, I read this, but I don't even remember it. So if I was tested on it, I don't think I could do very well. So that's what you're developing, is a study guide for yourself to think about, what is it I need to know moving ahead when I get ready to take this assessment. So I definitely want you to look over that chapter, or that 13th edition of Woolfolk, and she has gone ahead and made a study guide that aligns with her book, and you can look at that. It has everything outlined, so I implore you to look at that and see exactly what you do and do not know. So when it comes to the PLT study guide that's going to be due here at the end of April, you need to make sure that you're aware that everyone's is going to be different. No one's will look the same, but they're definitely not just 1 or 2 pages of some copy and pasted terminology. You really need to think about what you're going to do, what you need to study, and use this time to make a study guide because it will help you. I know it does, along with all the matrix. Lastly, one of the things you can start thinking of if you want to move ahead or if you're thinking about employment soon is that you will need a resume for this course. It's one of the last things that you will need to submit for this course, as well as a movie called The Ron Clark Story, and there's a reflection that's due on that towards the end of the semester as well. So I kind of just wanted to catch up with you, say hello, make sure you're doing well, and then just kind of start filling in the blanks as far as how the rest of our semester is going to work. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't hesitate to email me, and I will catch up with you next week. Have a good rest of your week and enjoy the spring weather. Take care. Bye.